Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome you in for a little Grhino Talk, a fitness, health, and wellness podcast, or a fitcast, if you will, brought to you by the folks at CrossFit 920 in Titletown, USA. With your hosts, Tony Giovannini, Matthew Gunville, and Katie Schluter. All right, Tony, take it away. Here we go, episode 2 of Grhino Talk, brought to you by the folks at CrossFit 920, a weekly podcast focusing on health, wellness, and fitness. We're back. It's our second episode. I'm here again with my co-host, Matt Gunville. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Tony. How you doing?
Good, good. Katie Schluter, how are you?
Still pregnant.
Still pregnant? Okay,
we're going out for ice cream later.
I'm not going anymore on that. Episode 2. We're going to talk a little bit about sedentary lifestyle to active lifestyle and what kind of ideas we can come up with for those of you that are out there that just look at it and say that's too much. I'm not going to be able to do that. So we'll get to that in a second. As always, we'd like to welcome you in. If you do like what you hear, please like the episode, subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future episodes. And if you have something that you'd like us to talk about, drop that in a comment and send it. And we do have a standing agreement that for the number of likes and subscribes and comments that we get, I will reluctantly do one burpee for each and every one of them. So,
and we will witness it.
Yeah, well, Matt's going to make sure that I do that. So here we go. Let's talk about sedentary to active life. It is a guy by the name of Michael Garish. He's a Boston-based exercise physiologist. He's a fitness trainer, and he's also a counseling psychologist. And he came out and he said there are 3 most common reasons to avoid exercise, and they fall into 3 different categories. I thought we could maybe talk a little bit about each category. The first category is emotional blocks. Okay, so some people might be sitting there, they might be depressed, or there could be other kind of reasons within their head that doesn't allow them to think that they're able to get out of their chair and to become active. Matt, you want to start us off on that?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people that hold themselves back has a lot to do with some emotional issues that they may be dealing with. I know some of the clients that I have that that have a hard time getting in the door per se, even maybe they have a walker, or maybe they have a bunch of injuries, and all these things going on with their body. Emotionally, the last thing they want to do is go embarrass themselves. And to me, it's how I am. I don't care what's going on. You can't embarrass yourself with me. But I know that's what they feel. So I think that's a big emotional stress on them. And for them to feel comfortable in the right setting to be able to get started is a big deal. So I know for a lot of people, even if you're listening out there, you might think you're at the end, or you might think that you can't get out and do physical activities because maybe you've been told by somebody that you can't, or maybe it's from an injury or whatever it may be. But there is always hope, and there is always a way. No matter what. At least that's what I believe, and that's what I'll keep telling people. So.
And the emotional block, to me, is probably the most difficult one for people to deal with, because you really have to look at yourself and say, what is it that's in my way? And most of the times it's just you. You're making, you're going to go through some of the other reasons why people might not exercise, and a lot of it comes back to that emotional. People create their own barriers. They create, you can always find time if you need time, which is one of the big barriers. But
and to put a note on that, it's a lot of times I think like Katie and I, as coaches, people look at us and be like, oh well, it's easy for them. I mean, look at I don't consider myself very fit, because that's still an emotional thing for me from my past. Is that I was a super heavy set kid when I was real little and got picked on really bad. And a lot of people that come through the door now, they don't know that backstory. They don't know that part of me, and I think that helps me understand a lot of my clients too. But hopefully, people understand when they, like Katie was saying, when you think you're alone, the emotional part of that, or you only got that thing going on, or you have this or that. There's probably a lot of other people out there just like you that probably have overcome it. And so I know for me, that was a big step for me emotionally, getting through my childhood with that. So hopefully that helps some of you think about those things like Katie was saying. I just wanted to throw that out there
Yeah.
because that's kind of exactly what I went through.
No, I know.
But,
I think a lot about being, the only female coach in the gym.
yep.
I think that's an important aspect of just the emotional as far as connecting with women. Not that you're not great connecting with women. I'm sure Robin would say you're really good at it.
I don't know about that.
But we could do a whole episode on women, and I think me being pregnant now too has opened a big door, and just as far as how all of this, some of this works in terms of just being women.
Yeah, and there's
It's a great idea. I think we should put that down for an episode. I mean, yeah, several women in this gym have been pregnant and still came in and worked out. And
Yeah,
I think it'd be
and
fun
I
to-
think sometimes it's well, I shouldn't say that it's easier for guys to get over those emotional, because I don't think that's true, but
no,
I also think that there's
they just don't show it as
right,
much.
they don't show it as much.
They
So-
hide it. From what I've noticed over my time of training people, it's interesting. It takes a long time to get an individual to break down to tell you what they're dealing with. So, and it's a key thing to make that big step.
All right, and in the second challenge, he lists to getting from sedentary to active for not exercising, physical challenges. Now, I'm guessing that this could mean a whole host of things.
Well, exactly. People that have the physical challenges, like we said in our other podcast about how we make everything scalable. In long story short, if the way I tell a lot of the clients is like, if walking for 5 minutes is a big deal for you, then that's okay. 5 minutes is awesome. That's a great amount of work for you. Everybody's different. Everybody starts at a different level. So you just have to be honest with yourself. That's another topic, but like, be honest with yourself about what is challenging for you and find what that is and start with it, and then always can add to it.
Yeah, and physical could be, you could be someone that, like Matt said, walking. Maybe you're walking with a walker.
Yep.
It could be that severe of a physical, or it could be, I have bad knees. I have a bad back, and it's kind of like we can work around that. We can figure that out. So again, are you using that as a barrier? Is it a true barrier? Usually we can find a way to still be active around those physical barriers.
Well, the pure not to cut you up, but the pure example was COVID this last year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people let that be a good, I don't want to say excuse, but I want to say,
Well, the COVID-19 got a little too popular.
yeah, it did. And, there's no reason people couldn't do something in their home or outside or whatever. But I think, those barriers come up, and you have to find a way to fight through them.
I think the lesson is if you're sitting out there and you're listening and you're one of those people like, I need to do something, but I'm afraid to do something. I've got something in my head, or I perceived physical challenge or perceived mental challenge. Give it a chance. Take a chance. Get out of your chair. Go someplace and see if there's somebody out there that can help you. Because chances are there is somebody that is going to be amenable to helping you and to try to get you. And it's little steps. You're not going to climb the ladder in a year. You have to take little steps in order to reach that top of the mountain for your goals. So take a chance if you have to. The third thing that he lists in these categories is improper workout techniques, and we're looking at techniques that could cause long-term injury, could cause pain, or even, as he puts it, boredom.
I would definitely say the boredom is number one there. Obviously, doing some poor techniques and hurting yourself will definitely put you back a ways in your training and towards your goals. But I definitely think the keeping it fresh and new, and constantly checking to see where you're at is a good thing. It's no different than like weight loss, right? So a lot of times I'll have people that tell me, of course, a lot of times, I want to lose this X amount of weight, and then I'll ask them, well, have you checked your weight? No. And it's like, well, okay. You need to have something to strive for, but you also have to have that information right in front of you telling you whether or not what you're doing is working. And I'm not, the whole scale thing's a whole other thing. Don't get me on that part of it. But my point is like being with the boredom with the workouts, you definitely want to make sure that you can track it and see where you're going with it.
I think along those terms too comes just people So I'm pregnant, so I feel like I should tell them that I sometimes lose my train of thought. I start talking and then I can't remember what I'm saying.
I have that without being pregnant, but
Me too.
I'll remember it. Go ahead and move on.
Matt and I are both bald, so
Yeah.
to keep things in our head, the hair's
Bald and
not
beautiful.
there. The hair's not there, so the things just come flying out of our head.
Okay, I remembered it.
You
Okay,
got
so
it.
I was going to say it goes along with terms of sometimes people also have unrealistic expectations of the exercise. So they almost get into that rut, which is what leads to boredom. You know, it's the reason why so many fad diets and fad exercise programs are so popular, because they promise 30 pounds in 14 days and six-pack abs in 30 minutes, and people expect that right then and there, and they get bored easily because that doesn't happen, and then they start, it turns into that spiral.
yeah, and you get it. That's a big topic that you're touching on there. Well, I mean, being honest, you look at these pictures and what people see on social. My biggest pet peeve is the social media of people videos of, oh, I lifted this and I did this work. Oh, look at my 8th ab came in today, and and maybe that motivates some people, but some of those people that are at that highest level, maybe not all real, right? Like maybe they had some surgeries done, maybe there's some enhancements and some drugs, and whoever knows. So you might get, like you're saying, you might get the false sense of like, wow, I'm going to look like that in 6 months. Well, not really. You got your own genetics, right? And you're going to have to eat really darn good, and you're going to have to work out super hard. So Katie touched on a really good part right there, to keep yourself motivated. Maybe be realistic. Look at yourself in the mirror. Take a good look and be honest with yourself. That's the first thing you'd want to do.
Honesty is a very important part of starting and maintaining and finishing through any kind of goal that you have in the gym. I could tell you that personally. Well, Katie, I'd like to go back to one of the things you were saying before, and I think it's a very important. We were talking about emotional blocks, and you had mentioned the word change. And I know that you're an educator, and I know that you're studying and looking at your master's degree and whatnot. We had talking before we started recording about the stages of change.
Yep.
What would you like to say about that? Because I think that's very important to bring in at this particular point.
Yeah, so there's a model called the trans-theoretical model, and it was actually originally used for smokers. They classified smokers into 5 categories, and it's called pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. And it actually goes really good with fitness, so it's actually moved into the fitness realm. And pre-contemplation is basically stage 1. And it's a spiral, so you can look up a picture and it shows a spiral, and you can enter this circle at any time, you can leave the circle at any time. But basically, stage 1 is pre-contemplation, and those are people that see no need to change what they're currently doing. Usually, they are not people that are necessarily the most healthy. Again, reason why we have a show called My 600-Pound Life. So those, people that just don't see that they need to change, and they don't see the appeal of exercising or living a healthy lifestyle. And then the majority of people are actually in stage 2 and stage 3, which is contemplation and preparation. Contemplation would be the people that I think of that come and say, well, I want to do CrossFit, but I'm not fit enough yet. I want to get fit first before I start my healthy lifestyle journey, which doesn't really make sense.
I've had that so many times.
They know that they need to get started, and they plan on doing it within the next month to 6 months, but maybe they don't know where to start. And right after that comes preparation. So now they've walked into a gym. They've probably been doing it for less than a month, but they're not totally bought in. So as trainers, that's where those are the 2 groups. They make up about 55% of the population. And so those are the people that really need someone like Matt or myself or one of the other trainers here to almost take them under their wing and say, like, here's what we need to do. Here's the plan. Here's why. Like, show them, go through, like you said, those barriers and say, what is the biggest barrier for you, and get them bought in so that they can get to the stage of action. Because people in those stage 2 and stage 3, those are the people that are most likely to continuously spiral. they come into fitness, they do it for a month, then we don't see them. They lose 30 pounds, and then they gain it all back, and then they want to lose it again. And that's that spiral mentality. But,
which is a lot.
Yeah.
Happens a lot.
Exactly. That's why it makes up such a large portion.
And even with the starting part,
Yeah.
contemplation. I had a client of mine one time. He came in with my card, and I walked up to the desk. I didn't recognize the guy, and he's like, "Hey, I need to get started," and he gives me my card. And I look at the card, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's like the first card I ever made." I'm like, "When did you get that?" He waited 3 years. That's how long he contemplated and stared at it on his front desk at his office. So it happens. But
yeah. The goal for us then is to get people into the action stage. People that have they're bought in, they're working out more than 1 day a week. They kind of do it. It's just now a part of routine. They still might have missteps. Again, they might fall into one of the categories of the barriers and fall out of it for a little while. But it's now so much of a routine that's just part of their lifestyle, is that they've been doing it for more than 6 months. Lots of people in our gym, how I would classify them is in that action stage. And then
and it can change.
Yeah, it can totally change.
Quite often.
Yeah. So they're still not, it's not even the last stage. The last stage is actually the fifth one, which is maintenance. And those are the people that tend to be more, they're doing it competitively. They've been doing it for 5-6 years. Yeah. They don't have to think twice about eating healthy or moving or getting 10,000 steps. And obviously those people still need to check in, and they need to know that you're there for them, but it's become part of them. It's not a diet. It's not, it's not a program. It's just part of them.
So I think they start out with, what is in it for me? Mm-hmm. This exercise stuff, what am I going to get out of this? And what do I want to get out of this? And they need to think about those things.
Yeah, definitely. And you're talking about the maintenance, as you bought in, and those people that reach the maintenance, those are the ones that have truly made that lifestyle change. Mm-hmm. They've assimilated it in, and that they don't even think twice about it.
Right. Unless you're going to hit a major life milestone that's going to throw you out of that routine, that's probably just what you're going to do.
So when we're talking about starting out, somebody's sitting at home and they're like, okay, these guys are getting me going here. I want to get out of my chair and I want to get something done. What's the best thing to do to start with? What would you, exercise-wise? I mean, I know it depends on the individual person. It's hard to say, but if you had to say on an average, what is the best exercise to start with?
I just think just move, walk. Mm-hmm. I would say weightlifting, and weightlifting to me is like number one. Any kind of resistance training is always going to overdo any cardiovascular, in my opinion, in the end. But you also need to know how to do it correctly and all those other things. So I'm not going to say weightlifting. I don't want somebody to pick up a dumbbell like I saw my wife doing one time, and she's going to be mad at me for this, but she was supposed to be doing, I think she was trying to do bicep curls, but I had no idea what she was doing. So I was like, oh, she's going to tear her rotator cuff. So I wouldn't tell anybody just to go do weightlifting unless they find someone and know what they're doing. But definitely just get up and start moving first. Just go for a hike, go for a walk, get out in the sun. You get all the benefits of it.
Do you guys subscribe to the 30 minutes a day, the daily thing? Where I see it all the time out there. Hey, if you want to get started, you should exercise for 30 minutes daily. Yep. That's a good idea.
And I think for people who are really really into that sedentary lifestyle, they see the word exercise and they think like, I need to get into a gym for 30 minutes, but really it is like Matt said, get outside, walk around, just move, clean your house for 30 minutes. If you're not doing anything, that's going to be exercise. Maybe
it's even going to, if you like to shop.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not a good thing.
No, walk around Target.
Maybe
you
walk
might
around,
end up
right?
with $500 of Target merchandise, but.
But we used to, and as weird as that sounds, we used to, I even took some clients for a few times to the mall and we just walked, and they enjoyed it. So, you find something that you like and go with it.
it says here that if you move 30 minutes a day, and they talk about the 80-20 notion. So we're looking at 80% of low to moderate type exercise and 20% of moderate to high intensity type exercise. That to me is very important. That's something that I hear my trainer Eric is telling me all the time. He said, "I'll take care of the 20. You just got to work on the 80."
Yep.
And some days it is a challenge, other days it isn't a challenge, but that's a good thing to do then, correct?
Yes, I totally agree. Well, number one is obviously make sure you get yourself moving and started, but then don't come flying out of the gate either. Meaning sometimes it's awesome as a coach because awesome you get this person super jacked and they're excited and they're motivated as all can be, but they're gonna burn themselves out, especially if they're just starting. So even though I like seeing that in individuals, I know it won't last long. So take it a little bit slower, like you were saying. Maybe the 80-20 would be a good deal.
Because especially if you're starting out, your body's going to hit that alarm stage.
Yep.
And again, you're going to be sore from whatever you're going to do. And starting out too fast, like Matt said, I've had people in on-ramp that, come out of the gate flying in that first workout. And it's kind of like, calm down. Let's build this up. Or
they want to go 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, sorry. I know you're a great athlete, but we're going to go with 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because, the other thing I said, the 30 minutes and then you have the 80-20 notion. But if you do the 30 minutes, they say it can really help to decrease heart disease or the ability to acquire heart disease.
Yeah, a lot of the chronic diseases.
Stroke, cardiovascular disease. It can help with your metabolism, can help reduce diabetes, weight loss, reduce stress, boost your mood, give you more energy, help you improve your memory, and increase productivity. Just from 30 minutes a day. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. You can't put a price on feeling good. Bottom line. I always tell clients that I'm like, you can't. There's nothing better than feeling good.
Yeah, and it's definitely something we tell people in on-ramp too. When you start to get active and you're all active, and then you know this and I know this, you go home and you eat that Luigi's pizza and it might taste awesome.
She's got to bring up pizza.
I know.
Thanks.
And then,
Katie.
Well, because this has happened to me where you eat, and my husband too is a great example. He'll work really hard and then he'll be like, I want some Arby's, and then he'll eat some Arby's and be like, this is why I don't do that, because now I feel like crap. And once you start feeling good, you want to, by exercising and you're starting to feel good, well, then you want to feel good doing whatever you're doing. So
it's almost amazing what we do to ourselves. Like you're saying, we work super hard, and they're like, right now I got a competition next weekend, and I have to make a certain weight class, and I've been doing really good with my foods. I feel great, but yet in the back of my mind, when she says pizza, I'm like, gosh, that sounds
I know.
amazing.
I maybe brought it up because you may be getting a little gift card on Friday.
And it's okay it's okay to do those things once in a while. But
I keep threatening to bring in a pizza for him with extra mushrooms and everything during the week,
I know.
but I don't want to do that because I know he does have a competition, and then he'll probably just do it tenfold to me too at the same time. So we talked about starting slowly and building gradually. That's a great tip for anybody that's looking to get off the couch or your favorite chair. It also says to work out with a buddy.
yes, we talked earlier about with CrossFit, the community aspect. There's sometimes workouts like today I came in and I was cleaning, and then I'm like, all right, I need to get my workout in, stop the cleaning. I start doing my workout, and the whole time I'm doing it, of course, Patty is kind of looking over, so she kept me motivated, but it wasn't as fun. If I would have had Katie or you or whoever with me, it would have been a lot better.
Well, my phone didn't ring, so
yeah,
I got grocery shopping done, but
I was too busy setting up all the gear so we could do these wonderful podcasts.
but no, relationship is a huge thing, and not even just the relationships in the gym, but if you don't have a supportive system at home, maybe you've decided to make a positive change, but your spouse or whoever you live with or your friends are kind of looking at you like, okay, you're going to go do what? If they're not supportive, finding a community like a CrossFit gym is a huge deal, because now you can create new relationships that don't see you as crazy or don't question what you're doing, or
And it's not saying drop them off at the curb.
No, exactly.
But reality is, and you hit at a great topic, is that if your friends or family aren't behind you feeling better, it sounds really awkward because if it's your friends and family, they should want you to feel good, right? So if they don't, that's okay. Let them feel that way, but then go find someone or some program that can help you.
There are statistics that show when spouses work out together, both people are more successful.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So there are 6 total little tips here for starting to become active. I'm going to combine 3 of them because they're all kind of related. The third one says break things up if needed, be creative, and also be flexible.
Yeah, you have to do all 3 of those. Being the creative, I love, because like we got a group of kids coming in a little bit that we train on Sundays, and I'm always like, I'm just looking outside and I see the sun, and I'm thinking in the back of my head as we're talking here, like how many fun little things I'm going to do with these girls and guys, because it needs to be creative for all of us, not just the young ones, but for everybody. So make it unique, creative.
It's one of the things I love about CrossFit. It's always creative. You don't get the same workout. I mean, you might do the same workout about 6 months apart.
Yeah.
But for the most part, Katie does a really good job of kind of keeping a flow going and keeping everybody working on everything that needs to be working on, which is everything. The last one is my favorite. Listen to your body. I mean, that's
a tough one.
For me, it's very important due to my age, due to some of the physical limitations that I have that I try to ignore as much as I can. But listen to your body is for me, it's important.
There's a couple ways to look at that one. And because there's the listening into your body of just not wanting to do it mentally, right? And sometimes you can play that game with yourself. And then there's the other listening to your body of people that will maybe get rhabdo, or they break themselves, meaning they get severely injured because they didn't back off. So as a coach, I always try to watch the athletes, and I know all of our coaches watch the athletes as best we can, because there's telltale signs of when you need to listen to your body. And then there's the other telltale signs of, well, they're just not in the mood to do this, right? So there's a whole different scenario there. And usually after doing it for a long time, you can tell if somebody just really needs to back off or if they're just playing a game with themselves, right? So, but it is a key thing, and I would just want to touch real quick on the listening to your body. When I was powerlifting, my first go-around, I would just worked and worked and worked and worked. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to outwork everybody because I'm not afraid to work. And I was going to the gym. I'll go longer. I'll lift harder. And I look back at what I accomplished. I mean, I did some things, but it was nowhere near what I could do in the gym. I'd get to a competition. I'd do some fairly decent weights, but it was nothing where I was capable of doing. And I'd get so mad at myself. And I still was able to maybe win or take first or third, somewhere in there. But I was not happy because I knew what I did in the gym. Well, as I got older, I started listening a little bit more to my partners and people that were lifting with me, which was hard to do. It was hard for me to listen to other people and be like, yeah, you're doing it wrong. You go too much. You got to rest, this and that. Well, then all of a sudden, lo and behold, I do it for 6 months and I won a national championship. So I look back and like, gosh, if I would have listened a long time ago. But anyways, yeah, listening to your body is key, especially as a drug-free athlete. It's hard to recover with some of the stuff you're putting your body through, so it's key.
Yeah, you don't recover, and you're going to create a physical barrier for yourself.
Yeah, and then we're getting back into that whole injury thing. So, all right, well, that's it for episode 2 of Grhino Talk. Again, if you like what you hear, please give us a like, subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Drop us a comment or a review. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover, put that in the comment or the review, and we'd be more than happy to take care of that. And don't forget about the standing deal we have here. Every like, every subscribe, every comment or review, I have to do one burpee.
I'm so motivated to see all this.
Yeah, I'm not really motivated for that, but I will do it because
in
the interest of the podcast, I will do it.
Can we put video out there?
I think we can.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they'll believe you. This is kind of one of those things we were kind of touching on with being accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
I like
accountability. Here I am listening to my body. I don't want to do it, but you know what? I'm going to do it because I know it's best for me, and I know that I can do these things. You might want to check out the Facebook page for CrossFit 920 in the coming weeks or days, depending on how many of these that we get, and you'll see me doing some burpees. I'm pretty sure Matt will video that and put it out there.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll have more information and a trailer coming up for our episode 3 of Grhino Talk. Again, please like, subscribe, give us a comment. We hope that you're all doing well. Please stay safe, be healthy, and you guys, we'll see you in the next show.
Thanks, Tony.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.
That's it for this episode of Grhino Talk. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment to make sure that Tony gets his burpees in. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And until next time, remember, things are earned, not given. See ya!